What's up, gamers? I was interrupted again with a wonderful error message from the PSN server that it said it could not start the broadcast. Jesus, with this stupid network. Anyway, I was trying to do in that last video, Season 3, Episode 89, called No Confidence. Now, this is an interesting thing because I was sitting around at work today before I left, and I was thinking about Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Lord of the Rings War, Shadows of War, whatever, and the other games with the loot box controversy and all the other stuff that's been happening in the gaming industry since those games were released, and the different ways that they have handled it. It's always, and the way Bungie handled their Destiny 2 with the throttling EXP and all this other stuff. And it made me wonder, I know that it is about making the money because these games, they're costing $150 million to make, $200 million to make, whatever it takes. These lives are all the stuff that's been going on. But this episode is entitled No Confidence. And today's episode is brought to you by Beer in the Throat. So, here's what I have to say about this. And I'm talking to you, EA. I'm talking to you, Activision. I'm talking to you, the publishers and the creators out there that make these games. It's really sad that we exist as gamers in a gaming environment, in a gaming community, where legitimately these game companies have no confidence in their game to sell. On its own merit, they literally have no confidence at all. None. Zero. They build the entire game around microtransactions and monetization and all the ways that they can keep making money off of you after your initial purchase. And that's sad to me. That DICE and EA, that Warner Brothers and Monolith, that Bungie and Activision, and the other games that are also lumped into there, had no confidence in the storytelling of their game, no confidence in the gameplay of their game, no confidence in the writing, the art design, no confidence whatsoever in the game that they were putting out. They built the entire game around selling stuff to you. And how can you, as a game company who publishes, or a game developer, can sit here and have no confidence in your game whatsoever? You have these lead designers, lead programmers, all these different people that are involved in making the game, and then you get the publisher who's giving you the money or whatever to publish it, and it's just unbelievable to me that they have no confidence. But it makes a lot of sense, though, when you stop and think about it. Look at Activision and Call of Duty Black Ops 4. They're not even going to do a campaign, because they want to say they want to focus on multiplayer and zombies, but they're also going to package Modern Warfare 2 or whatever version of that that has the campaign and no multiplayer together, so you still get a campaign from a completely different game. I feel like they have the writing, they had nothing for Black Ops 4 this time around. They just didn't have anything. They had no story because they just were like, what do we do? I don't know. They don't have any good writing because they had no confidence in their ability to sell the game on those merits alone. Look at Battlefront 2's storyline, where Eden Vizio, whatever the hell her name is, within a matter of just a few moments, a couple hours, is joined the damn rebels. And it's like the storytelling is absurd in that game, and it's terrible. It's great they included a campaign, but it's terribly written and terribly done. They literally had no confidence in this game. And that makes me sad. Because we also have games like the Wolfenstein series that's a single player, no multiplayer, no nothing. Just a straight shooter with a good story and good action and good gameplay, and that game sold like crazy. Look at the new God of War, getting 9.5s, 10s for its storytelling, its environments, its writing, and its gameplay, because it is incredible. And they didn't build those two games around microtransactions or anything. Hell, I'll even one up here, Spiders, with their games like Bound by Flame and the superior Technomancer, a game that everyone everybody should be playing Technomancer. No microtransactions, no nothing. They were completely confident in its gameplay and story to not include monetization in their games. But you see, EA and them, they have to build entire games, Activision, entire games around how do we keep making more money off of you. And this episode is about that. It made me sad. They had no confidence in that their game that cost $100 million would sell the necessary 3 or 4 million copies, on the campaign and the single player stuff alone. Even the regular multiplayer with no monetization. They literally had no confidence in their game whatsoever to actually break those marks. And that's sad that we as gamers have to listen to EA, the publishers, and Activision and Bungie. They had no confidence in any of their stories or any of their gameplay without having to build around microtransactions and monetization and stuff like that. And that's sad. Warner Brothers completely circumvented the Nemesis system in the last Lord of the Rings game by including that stuff. Now they have completely removed it because they came to their senses. Oh, this affects the Nemesis system, and we realize that, but it's a little too late because people stop playing it, and you've already got a bunch of money off of the game in the first place. You don't need the marketplace anymore. And it's sad that publishers and developers, and developers especially, have no confidence in their game to sell. That they have to make a cool game, but it's kind of an entry fee, and then you got to pay, microtransactions and loot boxes and the stuff that you get and the loot gambling and all the stuff that's in there in order for them to recoup costs, because the stories in these games are weak. Destiny 2's story is weak. They literally not even talk about the darkness at all. It's just about the Cabal. And even though it's a better story than the first game, it's still a fucking shit story. It's not that great. It's not. In the grand scheme of things. There's a lot of stuff that makes no sense in that game. Why don't your Guardian just take Ikor and them to the shard that he found and let them get their light back? Nope, can't do that. That would be the obvious thing. Look at the campaign of Battlefront 2. It was just terrible. Like, your character, Idun Vizio, whatever the fuck her name is, she literally is shocked to see the oppression around her when she's on a planet. I can't believe the Imperials would do this, and she switches sides on a dime. After her entire years of growing up Imperial, that she could just switch sides not only easily, but she acts like she didn't know they would do things like that. Bitch, you would never have made it into your rank unless you were a low-ranking stormtrooper. You were part of the oppression. How do you act like oblivious to it? That's poor writing. And while Shadow of War is an amazing title and has a lot of content outside of its marketplace, which is gone now, they still had no confidence in a Nemesis system to tell those stories. That's sad. These game companies and developers and publishers have no confidence in their games anymore. But publishers like Bandai Namco, they don't have that problem. They've been putting out game after game after game with none of the monetization stuff in there, with just some DLC that you might have to pay for, but nothing major, nothing extreme, and they're selling really well. God of War doesn't have it. The Wolfenstein new series doesn't have it. Both of those, they all got stellar reviews, and it doesn't need any of that because the game developers who developed those games had all the confidence in the world. They knew their game was good, knew the gameplay was solid, knew the story playing. Even Spiders, when I said with Technomancer, they knew they had a good game because of the Silk Engine, because of how beautiful the game is. It's like playing an old school BioWare game. They know. Right? And this is why I think it's sad. Developers and publishers, you gotta have confidence in your games. You have to have confidence in your games. And if you you got to believe in them. You've got to develop them and have good gameplay and good story. When you start circumventing all that, just then all you care about is the microtransactions and making a buck and making a buck and making people pay all this money, you completely forgot about why you're in the industry in the first place. Yes, you do it from a business standpoint for money, but the developers and the creators and the people behind it are in it to give us worlds to explore and people and creatures and things to interact with. And I think it's sad when these great games who have and the people who've developed them have no confidence in them whatsoever. This has been episode 89 of the Gaming Roundtable in season 3 here. I just want to also do this real quick shout out to my good friend Doug. He's the guitar player in a band called Since Anaheim. They have a YouTube video called Anywhere But Here. They are a good pop punk band. They are really good. They just got signed to an indie label. They haven't been around very long. I need you to go to that YouTube video, subscribe, like them, check them out. Their EP will be coming out real soon. These guys are gonna blow up really big in the industry. They're a very talented group of guys, and just want to say that you should really check them out. Check them out on YouTube. They're absolutely incredible. They have that sound. You're going to love the song, and just keep watch for them, because I'm telling you, they're going to go far. This has been episode 89 of the Gaming Roundtable. Thank you for joining on this episode called No Confidence. I'll be back real soon with another episode and a new subject to talk about. And as always, gamers, good gaming.